Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of the Thunder Underground podcast. Check us out online at thethunderunderground.com. We've got a lot of reviews up, some other features. You can also find us on Instagram. We're really active on Facebook and Twitter. We've also got a YouTube channel that's Thunder Underground. Go there. It's got companion playlists for all our episodes. We've got one up now for this episode, which is an episode entirely about Metallica. We sat down with our friend Justin Poole to discuss our thoughts, feelings, and everything in between. So sit back, enjoy. Started it.
Yeah.
I figured that's a good point to start on.
Yeah, I told me you should always start it.
Well, here. So is this? Are we started? Is this recording?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're sitting here talking to Justin Poole about Metallica.
Hey, Thunder Undergrounders.
That's not their official name.
All right. Well, whatever it officially is or unofficially is, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Us too. We're glad to have you.
Of course.
Justin is an old friend or family member in some cases here for Jason.
I'm Jason, and Justin is my cousin.
We are family.
That's right. Family with a B.
All right, so what got you into Metallica?
Was that what we're talking about today?
Yeah. If you just want to start from the beginning, do you remember how old you were? Or what?
God, you want me to go back that far? Well, I can't say that I can go back as far into my life. I was born in 1978, still pretty young, ladies. As far back as that, where I can say, Ride the Lightning is Metallica's sold out. They have classical music in there. A bunch of fucking sellouts. I can't go that far back, though I'm very familiar with the album. For me, it probably started. I have a small memory, and this is a very quick flash, and I do think of it every so often. In the 5th grade, some kid in the class, some little douchebag. I think he's one of those kids that brought a gun to school one day. Anyway.
As you do.
Yeah, we were talking music real quick, and I said whatever I was listening to, which I don't even remember what it was. I couldn't even tell you. Tony, I don't know. But he says, I listen to Metallica. Have you seen this album? And he brought out a little cassette of the Justice for All album. And I know it's the Justice for All album because you cannot not remember the cover of that album.
Always, yeah. Iconic.
Had a boobie on it, so I was interested. He brought it out. Did not play it for me. We're in class. I did not listen to it. But as a young kid, I had MTV early. Not that MTV was very kind to Metallica. Not that Metallica had anything to play on MTV. But late at night, there was a show called Headbangers Ball. You might have heard of it.
I think I did.
And one night, and Justice for All, not Justice for All, from the album And Justice for All by a little band called Metallica, played this video for a song called One.
Yep.
Not one of their biggest songs, but it stuck with me. And you know what stuck with me?
The double bass.
The double bass. So anyway, from then on, I knew who Metallica was. I did not own Metallica, any music. But in 1991, they came out with an album called Black Album with a little song called Inner Sandman. Not one of their, if you're an OG Metallica fan, you don't claim that song.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't claim the song either, but at the time I loved it. And a DJ at a school dance was throwing out a free CD, and one of the songs on there was Inner Sandman by Metallica. Played it, loved it, went and bought the Black Album. Listened to the shit out of that. Went and bought Justice for All. Listened to the shit out of that. Then guess what I did?
What'd you do?
Ride the Lightning or Puppets?
Oh, come on now. That's not how we're doing it.
Oh.
we're going to do Garage Days.
Oh, yeah, we're going
yes.
in order, right? Okay.
Listen to shit out of that, maybe 2 shits. Then what did I do? I went and got Master of Puppets. And then after that, Ride the Lightning, and then a little album known as Kill 'Em All.
Oh, I have a question. Did you listen the shit out of those?
Still haven't listened to them yet, but I hear they're great.
You should. They're decent.
Yeah, pretty decent. They're not stock in any way.
You might want to give them a spin, man. You might.
I mean, they're no Lulu, but they're pretty dope.
There's some decent shit on there.
Now, are we going to be talking about Lulu today?
We're going to get to that.
I'd rather not. But anyways, we're getting
Stay
ahead
tuned,
of ourselves.
everyone. We will be getting to Lulu.
Yes, right now. I got into Metallica when I heard Lulu about 4 years ago.
Wow, then you pretty much know everything you need to know
And
about
now
Metallica.
let's take a minute here and notice that the guy who said he got into Metallica when he heard Lulu is the same guy that used to think CC Ville is better than Jimmy Page. Folks, I rest my case. I rest my case.
Well, if you are
I already explained that in another podcast.
if you ever say, CC, pick up that guitar and talk to me, CC will do that for you. Jimmy Page, not so much.
Yeah, he's more of a stuck-up son of a bitch from what I hear.
A little bit.
Well, what about you, Jason?
As for me, it's kind of along the same lines as Justin. I first was exposed to Metallica. Kid lived down the street from me when I was in, I want to say around 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade. Sterling Williams, we all remember him.
Yep.
And he, and up until this point, I was totally, Poison, Bon Jovi, all that stuff, because I was young and it was catchy, and it was stuff I could bring in the house that my parents wouldn't really question so much, as far as the sound of it. It didn't sound too evil. So anyways, one day I'm at Sterling's house, and he says, I got this tape, and there it was, And Justice for All, and Metallica, and I was immediately, I was like, whoa. And he said, you got to listen to this song. And it was One, just like you, JP. He could have started it at the beginning, but, we were young, and that's the song that was out, and everybody went to One. And I was from then on, I was hooked. I had to have immediately. And being a 12-year-old kid, you didn't have a lot of money, you couldn't get a lot of money. But whatever I could do to get that tape and the back catalog, I remember buying Ride the Lightning for sure. I bought Ride the Lightning with some allowance money or whatever. But if I had to, I'd have friends dub me Garage Days, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All. And it was just Metallica.
Metallica does not condone that, by the way.
I guess not, but at the time, that's what I did.
I think they did back then.
Oh, yeah. For the digitals.
Right.
Yes, and I was hooked. They were my band. They were power. They were anthems. They were strength. They were just a step up. It was just what I was looking for, and I was hooked. And they've been my favorite band ever since.
And they weren't too evil.
They weren't too evil. They were a little mean, but not too evil.
Even though they have a song that they play about being evil.
But they were just asking if they were. They didn't.
That's true. And they didn't write it. So
yeah, it was just a question. It was just a question. And so that was how I did it, and just hooked from then on. I was #1 fan. Had to find out everything about him and
Still
all that.
are. You got the back catalog and the front catalog.
And I will have since then I had went back and bought all the CDs and all that kind of stuff. Anyways. So what about you, Trent?
It's the same exact thing as both of you. It was One. Like you just mentioned, I was into glam and stuff like Bruce Springsteen, but mainly Def Leppard and Poison and Cinderella and Guns N' Roses. But I don't know if it was you or Thrasher or probably Lonnie. Someone, played me in Justice for All, and I went and bought the cassette tape, and that's pretty much it. Then I bought the Black Album when it came out on CD, and then someone had gave me a copy. I think it was Lonnie gave me a copy of Garage Days, like a dubbed copy.
Yeah. That was the hard one to find.
Yeah.
I definitely had a dubbed copy of that.
Well, the best way to listen to Garage Days is a dubbed version.
Yes.
It's more true than the original.
Definitely.
The garage sound.
Right. I think I went back and got the other stuff after, the Black Album come out. That's whenever I really, sometime between Justice and the Black Albums when I really started getting into them. And then once all that stuff hit, then I went back and got everything else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, saying that, can you say what your favorite album is? Or is it one of those things like...
I could say it.
Oh, I can't. Go ahead, JP.
No, I'm not going to tell you people.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you right now, mine's Master of Puppets. I think it's the greatest heavy metal album ever made, even though there's better metal bands than Metallica, in my opinion. Those 8 songs on that album, and Battery is the greatest heavy metal song ever recorded. There you go.
I can't fly for that. How about you, Jay?
Well, for me, I have to agree with Trent. Master of Puppets is kind of like I said about Appetite for Destruction, was just one of those things. It happened. It was just the time, and it just made a huge statement. That is a monumental heavy metal album, and it deserves the utmost respect. I get that totally, and I love that album. But for me, time and time again, it didn't matter if I was 13 or now when I'm 38. If I have to listen to a Metallica CD, I always throw in Kill 'Em All. For some reason, it's my favorite. It always has been. It's just raw. It's like hungry, and it's just relenting.
So is your vote, are you going for Kill 'Em All?
I think so.
So you gave kudos to Master of Puppets, but you're going to Kill 'Em All.
Kill 'Em All is my favorite.
That.
My favorite.
See, my favorite, though I think both of you have some very valid arguments. If I were to not have the opinion that I have for my personal life, I would choose Master of Puppets because I think it's an amazing album from start to finish, and none of those songs get old. But my favorite album, and it's not because it's the one I was first introduced to, but my favorite album, even though it's very flawed in certain ways, as we all know, is And Justice for All.
Yes, okay.
That's my favorite album. It's the most angstiest album in a true form. The boys were, late 20s?
Yeah.
Right at that time where they start to think they know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
They start to formulate opinions about what's going on in the world.
Right.
So they put that into their music. All their songs are about the world's going to end. Don't worry about what I look like. I am the beholder. And stuff like that. They went political with it in the only way they knew how. As a late 20-something year old who really doesn't understand what thinks they do, and usually it's the form of I hate everything. So I love that album. The guitar riffs are just the hardest and punchiest. Like they didn't go cha-cha, they went cha-cha. It's like cocking a gun, man.
It was
cocking something. But they were doing that album.
It was a tight fucking record. And the riffs were probably the most intricate in that album.
Yeah, they went nuts. They were angry. They lost their bass player, and they had to play with some new dude who they were pretending to like.
Yep.
They were doing stuff like, "Ooh, mommy and daddy, I don't like you." The stuff you did when I was young.
Well, and and James and Kirk were pissed off that Lars got a mullet. So that fueled their anger into their performance even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though later on, just for those who don't know, James got a mullet.
He got a sweet mullet.
He got a super mullet. He got a hunter's mullet.
I think it's a NASCAR mullet.
It's a combination of the two, probably.
That leads me into my next question. What's your favorite all-time Metallica mullet?
Oh, let's see.
That really wasn't prepared.
Well, we're gonna throw Kirk out. He never had a mullet.
Do you consider the thing that Newstead had? Is that considered something?
I don't consider that a mullet. I consider it good taste in metal hairdos at the time, because I too had that hairdo where my hair is long on the top,
right,
and shaved all the way around, and that was one of my best hairdos I had as a youngster.
Yeah, I wish somebody would bring that back. Somebody needs to bring that back.
Oh, they have, but they usually go to Lilith Fair concerts.
Oh, well, never mind.
If there were such
never
a thing.
mind.
Tune into the next podcast. It'll be about Lilith Fair. But that was a great look. But I think anyone who would wear it now, probably, being, older, mid to late 30s, not quite 40s ladies, I'd probably be annoyed at anyone I saw wearing that.
I agree.
Because I'd be like, Newstead did it better.
Right.
But anyway, my favorite, I'm not going to go with Lars, because Lars' hair is weird in the first place. I mean, I commend him for being able to grow a mullet.
Yeah.
Because of what happened to his hair. So I guess James' mullet's the best because it's the most threatening.
Right.
And he could do it again today if he wanted to.
And he looks like he'd beat you up if you talked about it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good old James. I love you, James.
Well, around that whole time when we all got into him, not long after was whenever A Year and a Half came out. A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, the documentation of the recording of the Black Album, came out on VHS, and we talked about that earlier. We all own this.
Yeah, that was great. I watch that every day.
In part 2 was documentation of the tour.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. That was the half.
I remember I was on Christmas vacation from school when I got that, and I sacked a ton of groceries to be able to buy that, and I watched it over and over, both VHS. I always watched them in order: tape 1, tape 2, rewind it all, watch it over.
Yeah, don't watch tape 2 first. You'll be lost.
No, you can't do it.
You won't know what's going on.
It was everything, and especially tape 2. Having seen that tour, that was my second concert ever. Having seen that tour, it was a great companion, and it helped me relive a lot of that, because that tour, the Black Album tour, Evening with Metallica, that was it was a spectacle. It was it blew people's minds, and as a 15-year-old kid, I mean, I was on cloud 9. I couldn't contain myself.
I think up to that point, that I was going to say DVD, but that'd be completely wrong. That VHS taught me everything I knew at the time about being in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just see how the instrument, how they're all in separate little areas, and how they were sitting down, which was weird to me.
Yes.
And they had that little coffee filter thing in front of their microphones. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Well, if you watch a lot of bands do music videos where they're in the studio.
Oh yeah.
And it's fake.
And they're all black and white.
Yeah. So I saw A Year and a Half in Life Metallica, and I was like, wait, what are they doing? But I realized this is how you really record an album. So that was a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, Lars taught me now in the studio, if you're the drummer, you should take the drumstick and stab the snare with
That's
that.
right. That's right. Because when you're at that level, you can buy another snare head.
Yeah.
Who cares?
They should have it right there ready.
And you even got some guy to change it out for you.
Yeah, dick.
And they didn't like Kip Winger.
No, they didn't. Which probably a little point of contention for you, Trent.
Yeah, I turned it off after that, and I've never seen the rest.
I didn't think so. Well, you're missing out. You should try to get over that one.
For those who haven't seen it, and you should, in the documentary, they had a dartboard up in their studio, and it had a nice picture from, I don't know what, not Teen Beat, but
Metal Edge.
Metal Edge.
Had to be Metal Edge.
That type of thing. A nice picture of Kip Winger with a big old grin. And they're going to town with the dartboard with them.
There you go. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Well, you just mentioned the concert, so the first time you saw him was it January of '92?
Yes.
And that was not far into I don't know when the Black Album tour started.
Well,
it's probably around the time the album released.
Because the album came
late
out
summer,
like in
'91.
Late summer '91. So I saw him in January of '92. I mean, it was just over the top for me. I just couldn't believe. I almost felt like I shouldn't be there. It's like, do I even belong here? This is so like, I don't know if I'm cool enough to be here. I mean, it was just a rock show.
Oh,
like,
you're cool enough.
Well, now I know that
You just weren't cool enough to be on stage.
I guess not. It was just a rock show over the top that I couldn't. It was like I just couldn't believe these were like, I'm going to sound really dumb, but these 4 guys were like gods up here, and I just couldn't fathom that I was actually there. And this is my, 15-year-old, 14-year-old mind.
Did you want to touch them?
No, I never wanted to do.
Not sexually.
No.
Just in a fanboyish way. Just touch them a little bit.
No, I never got too bad like that. I just wanted to be in the band, but maybe not touch them.
So as a true fan as I am, I did want to touch them. Want to touch them so good. Maybe just like, I don't know, their hand. Nothing sexual.
Put your arm around
per se.
them.
Yeah, just like, be friends. Have them be the dad I never had. And I loved it. But I saw them probably 95, I want to say.
Man.
I want to say I saw them at the Los Angeles Forum in some city, I can't remember. But I saw them at the Forum, and it was my first arena concert. I wish it were my last because I hate arena concerts. Sorry, people that like arena concerts, but you're watching a television. You're going to a public place to watch television. Anyway, it wasn't so bad. I had seats far away, but you could see them, and you just couldn't see their facial expressions. But it was that weird stage setup that they had.
Yes.
And like drums came up out of the ground at one point. Like now Lars is playing on this side of the arena, as opposed to the other side of the arena.
Yeah, because they played in the round.
Yeah, but I loved it.
Oh, that's right.
God, I loved that song for the first. And then also I saw them at Lollapalooza.
Yes, we went to the Lollapalooza
with the white wife beaters and the short hair.
Yeah.
And it killed me. The concert was as good as it could ever be, because that's one thing that Metallica does right, is the live show.
Yeah.
The live show was great, but I didn't like the way they looked.
Well.
And that's part of it.
Well,
as a true fanboy, you like the way they look. Not in a sexual way, per se, but in a, just want to touch them a little bit. Type of way, as a fanboy. Now I don't care to touch them too much.
Well.
Nowadays I'll be like, hey, let's get some coffee. Yeah.
That makes more sense.
But and then I saw them again. Oh, Summer Sanitarium tour.
Saw that one too.
And they were miles away.
Yeah.
They were so far away.
That was in a stadium, right?
Yeah, that was in a God.
A football stadium.
Where'd you see him at? Which stadium?
I don't know. It was so long ago. But it was there somewhere in Southern California. I saw them. I drove out there and went in Summer Sanitarium, and there
probably
was
the one in Pasadena or something.
Possibly. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure, that's a place.
I saw the one in Dallas, and we had seats on the side but kind of close up, so it wasn't too bad. But that place was huge.
Yeah, just so big.
Yep.
First time I ever saw him was outside at the fairgrounds in Oklahoma City in 1993.
Oh man, fairgrounds! You got fairgrounds?
Yeah. It was just a grandstand, actually, I don't know, it was a racetrack a horse track.
Was this during the fair?
No. They just had shows out there.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, this is 1993. They're
right.
They're going to shows and, getting their fans killed in Moscow at that point.
Right. No, it was just a grandstand set up, and they had, general mission grounds, stand, and then I don't know if you had to pay to be in the stands or what, but we were down fairly close, and it was Candlebox and Suicidal Tendencies were opening up.
What a bill! What a bill!
Danzig had been on the tour, but I think had dropped off by that point.
Yeah,
that was a foreshadowing of things to come.
Right,
having Suicidal Tendencies there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Jerry Cantrell came out and played. I think For Whom the Bell Tolls and one other song. I can't remember what the other song was. He played 2 songs with them.
Wow.
So that was a unique experience.
Man, I wonder if we could guess what songs were. Of course, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That song was all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Like everybody was playing that song.
Yeah.
I was playing that song.
One of the easy songs to play.
Yeah, I wonder if you'd play. I don't want to speculate too long. It'll take forever.
Right.
But I know it's For Whom the Bell Tolls. Maybe Fade to Black.
Probably. That's a good. Yeah.
I don't know.
I could probably Google it and find out.
Yeah.
Always
But-
we go da 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 da. Jerry Cantrell is playing on this song. Da 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 da. Of course. Every time they play it on a TV thing, like especially like a concert, oh, Metallica's playing. There's always that song.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, after that, I guess we saw the Lollapalooza tour as well in
Yeah.
Kansas City.
That was the first day of that tour.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it was a little different, visually, but they still sounded kick-ass.
Yeah. That's one thing they got.
Yeah.
They got down is how to play a live show.
Yeah, they are not lacking in that department.
Because we even saw, me and him went up to Wichita to see him on the St. Anger tour. And he said, "You want to go?" I said, "No, not really," because I didn't care about St. Anger. And finally he said, "I'll buy your ticket if you go." So I was like, "All right, I'll go for free."
Mm-hmm.
So we went, and they kicked ass. They played like 2 songs from St. Anger and everything.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't want to buy a ticket because it's going to be a Metallica show.
Yeah, I was just being.
But I mean, you were probably super pissed off because you heard St. Anger at least once.
Right.
And then I'll
Just
make
once.
Yeah. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now we should probably get into load, I guess, because we're kind of at that point in the timeline.
As everybody knows, the Black Album is amazing.
Yeah.
And everything before it is amazing. And all of them are amazing in different ways. Now.
Yeah, they all have their own sound.
Here's my question, and because this was such a big thing when the Black Album came out.
Sellouts.
Yeah, tons of people loved him. A lot of the fans still loved him, but a lot of the fans said they were sellouts then. A lot of fans said they were sellouts even before then.
Yeah, as soon as you get a second album, you're being called a sellout by somebody.
What do you think of that? Because, their sound did change, so were they sellouts or were people
I wouldn't say they're sellouts at all. All I know is the album sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
Bob Rock, the producer, if you don't know, and you should know, because I said so, he did an amazing job with the sound of that album. Now the problem with the album, and it's not really a problem, the problem with Society is that album had a lot of hits.
Yes.
And Metallica's not used to, their fan base and them are not used to any hits. I mean, one was a hit, Late at Night. It was a hit.
Yeah.
Black Album came out, and boom, all of a sudden you got daytime hits.
Yeah.
You got, Enter Sandman, which was a big hit. The song is amazing, but I don't need to hear it again. But it's a good song. But man, have we heard that song?
That Sad But True.
Sad But True.
Wherever I May Roam.
Wherever I May Roam.
Unforgiven.
The Good Unforgiven.
And Nothing Else Matters.
Nothing Else Matters.
Yep.
And man, that's, gigantic hits.
Yeah.
People that I despise, that I absolutely despise and hate their taste in music and in life and clothing and activities, they know Sabbath True.
Right.
Even if they don't know the title, they know wah, 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 wah. They love it. They'll play that at NASCAR. It's a great song. But when I listen to the Black Album, if I'm going to skip past stuff, I skip past the hits because
Definitely.
all the other songs are amazing.
Yep. And I always wonder, do I like those non-hits better because I really think they're great songs? Or do I just am sick of the singles? I don't know.
I think it's both.
Yeah. But I think they're amazing songs, even though I was sick of the singles.
Well, I think Struggle Within is one of my top 5, maybe top 3 favorite Metallica songs ever.
The whole
one of
end
my
of that
favorites is of Wolf and Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got one of the best intros they've ever done. It's just really hard hitting.
Basically, the whole second half of that album.
Yeah.
And also
Don't Tread on Me on is like, wow.
Don't Tread on Me.
Bag on Kirk Hammett. Oh, he just uses blue scales. He just uses wah pedal. Black Album was a sellout album. Fuck all that. I'm gonna say it. Unforgiven and Struggle Within are his 2 best solos ever recorded ever. I mean,
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'll go ahead and say every solo he did on the album was great. He did his homework. Bob asked him to do his homework. He did his homework.
He did,
except for that one time, but then he went back and did his homework.
But those two are like just blueprint rock, hard rock solos.
Yeah, he has a style. Kirk has a style. He'll charge up the Fruit Ninja thing and make himself a nice smoothie. down it, go out there and kill it.
That's right.
Every night, every take. Well, that's probably not true. I mean, I'm probably idolizing a little bit more. But when they decide to press record, it's going to be the best one. And it's going to be good.
Except for Saint Anger. We didn't need any solos on that motherfucker.
Yeah, no.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
But I think the Black Album was it's not. I understand people were pissed off, like those diehard fans, because it wasn't thrash or whatever. But there still wasn't anything on the radio that sounded like that.
No, not at all.
Because even though it leaned, it was somewhere between really heavy and hard rock.
Yeah.
It still was just this polished, really heavy metal.
Yeah, well,
So,
it did this new thing where it took nice, polished, heavy metal, and it became a new genre, which is like epic metal.
Right.
Because everything sounded epic on it.
Yeah, it was huge. It sounded huge.
So they basically, you could say that, people could say they sold out, but they basically still paved the way for, they sold out to themselves.
I mean, it was definitely a crossover hit.
Yeah, they weren't going into an area just to make cash. They didn't know that was gonna be successful. They just
reached that point in their life, and they had a producer that was on board, and they all came together with this big old thing. And I'm going to say something. I don't want to talk about it because it doesn't need to be talked about. I'm just going to say the words, the struggle within. Let's move on.
I like it. Let's move on. What were you saying, Load?
All right. Okay, so whenever you first heard, what was it?
Until It Sleeps.
Until It Sleeps.
I got you on this one.
Okay.
Let me go.
But no, I just want to say, Until It Sleeps was the first thing anybody heard. And I still remember.
A long time.
Yep.
I still remember they had a nationwide.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going.
Like all radio stations that were going to play it across the nation had to be ready to, sync up. And
yeah, they were going to.
They didn't have, it was played from somewhere else.
This was back in the old days. And so they had some kind of satellite thing that all stations had to hook onto at like 7 o'clock at night or whatever. I was driving home from work. It was on the BA Expressway. And I heard it. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed as hell. My heart sank. It was like, it was not a bad song. It was just not what I wanted to hear.
Metallica
and it's like, I knew it was going to be different. I read everything up to it about how it was different. But it was just hard to take. And I just thought that, and I think that's why to this day, people will say they went alternative. I don't really think they went alternative if you listen to the whole album. But that song definitely had some alternative leanings. And I thought it was, even when it got up and rocked, it was still kind of lazy.
And that's what it did, is it rocked. It didn't metal.
Yeah, and so it was just it was a disappointing thing, and so that was and I just thought, I was really disappointed, and I was like, but I still thought I'm not gonna make a complete judgment until I hear the whole thing. Yeah. So we go to anyways, we did the whole thing where we wait till at midnight and go get it, whatever. You remember that?
Yeah. Media play.
Yeah, and we went and and by the way, I didn't care that they cut their hair and were smoking cigars and making out with each other. I didn't give a shit about any of that. I didn't give a fuck. I still don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want to do. Who cares? It didn't matter to me. All that mattered was what I heard on the album, and I raced home, and it was like I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning listening to that album over and over. And I was happily pleased that Until It Sleeps was the worst song on Load. And I liked the rest of it. Now it was definitely not a Master of Puppets.
It wasn't
any Kill 'Em All, but I didn't want it to be. I already had that. So I enjoyed Ain't My Bitch. I enjoyed Hero of the Day. I enjoyed Wasting My Hate. To me, it was just... To me, I thought, well, they're a big band. They can mess around if they want. They hadn't failed me yet, so I'm going to go ahead and just go on this journey with them. As corny as that sounds.
You went on this journey.
I was...
It didn't stop at Load.
No. We had to reload and all that. But anyways, I just went with it, and I still defended them, and I still defend them. And I'll tell you what, it is. You listen to that album, and it was more a experiment in hard rock and blues. The only thing that you could maybe say was alternative was Until It Sleeps. But listen to the slide guitar, the twangy, the grooves, the time signatures. They were trying to go for a bluesy, hard rock, greasy thing. I think they were listening to a lot of Aerosmith, probably a lot of old Aerosmith, and I think that anyone with half a brain can listen to that, take away all the dumb shit about how they look or whatever, and there's no way you can't say that. And so I don't really listen to that album a lot today, but still.
Because it's a load.
Well,
I had a different experience with that. I waited for it. Finally, the new song came. Oh my god, a new Metallica song! It's been so long. And so I was like, all right, here we go. And I think they played it. I think they had a sneak peek of the Until It Sleeps video, or they played it on Until It Sleeps video. So they played it and listened to it. I'm like, oh, first off, I was like, that reminds me of the R.E.M. video for Losing My Religion. But I'll put that aside because I like that video. But anyway, the song, I listened to it and I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Because I was listening to different stuff then. I was listening to Typo Negative and Moonspell and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All that gothic stuff that is a little melodic. And I was like, you know what? That's a cool song. I dig it. It's kind of dark. It's kind of like, it's not an Unforgiven type song, but it's, I guess you could put it in that boat.
Yeah.
Of some little off thing that they're doing. And I'm like, I'm fine with it. I like this song. And then I got the album. The album came out. I listened to that until it sleeps. It's like, yeah, until it sleeps. Meh, 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 meh. And that's fine. And then the other songs came on, and it was exactly what you said, that bluesy rock.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Yeah.
Which, guess what?
It's like Ronnie. How can you say, they went alternative? Listen to Ronnie. They're trying to go Southern rock.
I never thought they went alternative with that. I just thought they went the bluesy rock, non-metal route.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, well, metal is in your name. It's cool to have a few, off songs, but at some point I thought the album would steer back into some metal songs.
Yeah.
Which it did not. And there were some fine songs on there, which were also hits. Hero of the Day,
King Nothing, or Enter Sandman 2.
Yeah, pretty much. I did not care for Memory Remains with, what was it, Mariana Faithfull.
Well, that was on Reload.
Oh god, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's another.
See, I confuse them because they're loads to me. Anyway, so they're doing that bluesy rock. I did not dig it. I liked a lot of the songs. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not listening to Metallica. I don't know what this is. It's just some other band I'm listening to right now. If any other band came out with it, I'd be okay with it. But this is not a Metallica.
See, Trent said that before, too.
Yeah. I want some Metallica.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the exact thing I always said, that if this was a brand new band that you never heard of and they dropped this album called Load.
Yeah.
No matter what the name is, you heard these songs, you'd be like, fuck, this is a great band. And it is a great band. It's Metallica. But, I mean, you would have fucking loved it. But the fact that it's Metallica, okay, I know what these guys can do. I know what they've done. I've heard the Black Album and Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets and everything else. And this is not what I want to hear.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch them as much.
Right? Yeah.
So usually I'm like, I want to touch them a little bit.
Yeah.
This sounds like, I'll watch them from afar.
Right.
Well, I love Wasting My Hate. I think it's like...
That is a great song.
It's like in my list of top Metallica songs of all... Well, not top. Probably top 20, but, whatever. It's off that album. It's like, if that had been the first song, like my whole view might have changed. Even though the rest weren't as good. I mean, like, the first thing I heard was this song.
Now, is it the music of that song that speaks to you, or is it the lyrics? Because Metallica lyrics has never spoken to me.
Right.
It's just the music has always spoken to me. The lyrics were secondary, and I mean, with most people, lyrics are secondary.
Yeah.
Except for a lot of kids nowadays, they like, oh, I love you, and I feel good with you. Shut up and dance. Whatever. But I never felt that. There are a lot of bands I do connect to the lyrics. but Metallica was never one of them. So Wasting My Hate, there's a message to that song. Did you connect with that, or did you connect with the sound of it?
I don't know, probably both. I mean, I thought it was a cool, theme.
I mean, it's a fine lyric.
The chorus, that main thing. I'm not gonna waste my hate on you. I'm like, that's cool, but it wasn't like anything that resonated with me. Like, oh, this reminds me of that asshole. It was just a cool song, and it had that kind of country intro, even though it wasn't. Just that kind of feel.
Which I feel it should not have had from this particular band.
True, but it was on Load, so it worked.
Yeah. I just felt most of the, and this goes with Reload too, which we'll get to, but Load, it felt like all of the riffs, because Metallica was always about the riffs, and I'm a guitar player, so I was always listening for that little guitar riff, and I'm like, wow, how did they think of that? Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, they have some great little guitar riffs that are identifiable. Once you hear that, you're like, boom, I know what song that is. But to me, Load was like, every song had the same cadence. Wow, 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 wow. And I'm like, that's not metal.
Yeah.
That's like a waltz or something.
Yeah. Well, Load was not a metal album, I'll tell you that much.
But it had the word metal in it, in the name of the band, Metallica.
Well, we could go on and on about that.
That might have been more Leica as opposed to metal.
Stranger things have happened.
More Leica.
Now, how do you guys feel about Load hitting the scene and then everything after it? Do you think Load is what gave us the James Hetfield, I guess you call them James Hetfield little sequiturs into the next bit of the song where you got your oohs,
the Hetfieldisms,
yiggles.
Yeah,
I think that's where we got that, because I'm trying to remember if
oh, that's when all that started, definitely. And he did that in concert a lot, and now I think someone probably pulled him aside, or he probably heard a lot of it, because he doesn't really do that much anymore.
Because there was a lot of yiggles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, and
like non-stop.
We're Metallica, baby.
Yeah.
You didn't ever want to hear Metallica say "baby."
Yeah, people, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was going on. I know at some point he blew out his voice.
Yeah.
So maybe he was just relying on yells.
Possibly. So when Reload hit, what did you all think about Reload?
All right, so I got my Reload story. So I did Load. I didn't care for it, but I listened to it a lot because I'm like, well, I like these songs, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
When Reload came out, I'm like, oh, here we go. We're gonna get that metal back, because they did an album with no metal in it. So this time,
well, this is all recorded at the same time.
Well, yeah,
but we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't know that.
So Load came out. I went to the store. I was in high school at the time. I think I was a senior in high school. So at lunchtime or something, I went and got the album. I came back, and I listened to it in the car. And I heard, "Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I ooh." And I was like, by the way, being James Hetfield for this podcast makes me cough. But anyway, so they did that, and I'm like, ugh. And then the little guitar riff came on, and I was like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
I listened to the whole album, didn't connect with one bit of any song.
Yeah.
And of course that happens a lot. Almost all albums, you listen to it, it's kind of okay at first, or you don't connect with it, but then you listen to it a bunch of times when you start connecting with it. So listen to Load. One time through, when it was done, I just kind of stared at the wall, and I didn't listen to it again.
Really?
For about a month or two.
Wow.
And I put it on again. I'm like, I must have had a bad day. It's an off day. I didn't care for it. I kind of was betrayed. I felt betrayed. I felt ashamed that I listened to it. And so I put it on again. Same reaction. So I played it a few times because I thought, oh, you listen to it a few times again. Nope, didn't work. So I just took it out of the CD player and put it away and never listened to it again.
Really?
And I still don't listen to it.
Wow.
And now, even if I hear, like, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that, I skip.
Really?
To the, if it's on the radio, if it's It wouldn't be in a playlist, but
Yeah.
if, a radio station played it, I moved to another station.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, I think for me, I liked the album. I think it would probably be. I never really listened to it. I will say for.
Well, if you want to like it, don't.
For all that. Even though I like Load better, and if I ever had to pick like a favorite new Metallica song, Prince Charming from Reload would be it. I really like that song. It's got a good vibe. But
I can't even remember it.
But a lot of the, some of the other stuff like Slither and whatnot, some of that's kind of forgettable for me. I really don't put that album in at all.
Yeah,
maybe if I'm ever doing like a Metallica shuffle at work, some stuff will creep in. But
you probably have to you probably have a little moment where you're like, I know this band. What the hell is this?
Well, I know
it's Metallica.
Yeah.
See, I can't get at this point in my life, and at the time when it came out, I can't get past "To Be Fueled, To Be Fired."
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was all right. I think it feels okay.
I can't stand it.
And I need to kind of go back if we're on Load. I forgot to mention "Bleeding Me." I thought was a great. That was a good epic song. That's like that should be played more in their set. That's a good. That's like one of their classics that not really a lot of people know.
Well, the thing about that album is, as you all know, I hate it, but I forgave Metallica. Like, I didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it. Some people did. Some people, sitting across from me liked it. But I hated it. But I was like, you know what? They're gonna the next one they come out with is gonna be Amazeballs.
Well, and was it? What was? Where do we want to go now with this?
Well,
Garage Inc.
I think No Leaf Clover.
Or was that?
That's
or was
true.
S&M first with the 2 new songs?
No, it was Mission Impossible. I disappeared.
Oh, Mission Impossible.
I
Let's talk
disappeared.
about that. Mission Impossible theme song. First off, and I hate saying this about anybody because everybody's just trying to get a job. Metallica is just trying to work. But they got paid for this damn Mission Impossible song. Not even a good Mission Impossible movie. And they did a video for it where they're doing little Mission Impossible missions.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
And that's when I see Metallica in a video acting, like doing scenes. And this doesn't even go for Metallica. This goes for everybody. When I watch a music video, I like watching crap happening on the screen, and then cut to the band playing the song.
And then
cut to crap going on the screen, cut to the band playing the song. This was the band running through little obstacle courses and explosions and acting. And I'm like, you guys aren't actors, you guys are fucking metalheads. You should be giving me the medal that I want to pay for. It's in your name.
Did the song give you the medal?
No. The song didn't give me the medal.
What did it give you?
It gave me a little bit of don da don don da don don da don da don da don don. It gave me more Load.
Yeah.
So that song should be called Reload.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's one of the few songs from that era that I like a lot. I don't love it, but I like it a lot more than most of the songs on the albums.
Yeah.
Well, because they only had to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as soon as I seen which one of them was running through a building and then had to jump out at the end from explosion.
Lars. That was Lars.
Lars of all people. First off, Lars wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Lars would stay there and deflect the explosion with the power of his metal. He wouldn't run from it. And I guess I could say about the video, they got to play on a rock. On a giant rock that's hard to get up and down from.
Yep.
So that's good, I guess.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it was good for them.
Well, right around that same time was Garage Inc. as well, and that that kind of like as far as mainstream, that stuck with the whole hard rock thing because all the hits off it were the hard rock stuff.
Yeah, Whiskey in a Jar.
Yeah.
Turn the Page.
Turn the Page.
Yeah.
This stuff that was real heavy on there, like the Merciful Fate thing or whatever.
Was just the crap they threw in at the end.
Yeah, and it's like
And
people don't remember that, and it's good stuff. So, I mean, that album's got a lot of good stuff on it.
Yeah, disc 1 of Garage Inc. Was it revisited? I can't remember because I was so mad at it.
I think it was just called Ink.
Garage Inc. I'll call it Garage Stink. Though I know people do like it. And then probably some of those people are here. I did not like that at all. Though I did love disc 2. Disc 2 was amazing because it had
all the old
just
stuff.
a reissue of Garage Days.
Well, I had all those,
all the
small
extra
hours,
covers.
The Wait, Killing Time, which Killing Time I think is probably like their best cover
Stone
they've ever
Cold
done.
Crazy, yo.
Yeah.
You know what? This is one of their best covers.
But Garage Inc. had some good moments. The Merciful Fate medley was, that was epic.
That's all fine. Wasn't that disc 2? Or was that
No,
disc 1?
I can't remember.
I think it was 1 because all the new stuff was on 1.
Okay.
It was probably on the very end.
And It's Electric, the Diamond Head cover, that was great.
Yeah. Well, they were doing some, some metal stuff.
Yeah.
But the whole beginning of it was just like, songs like, oh, I'm in a honky tonk sitting here, not feeling good about myself and my path in life, which was probably true at the time in real life. But I'm like, what are they doing all these like Bob Seger songs?
Yeah.
Which I love Bob Seger. Let Bob Seger do Bob Seger. Bob Seger does Bob Seger great. But Metallica does not need to be doing Bob Seger.
Yeah.
They should have gone back to what they did at the very first Garage Days album, and do some nice,
some of their
lovely,
find some
lovely
obscure
punk
bands
and
I
old
like.
metal.
Yeah, I know.
But of course, Garage Days Revisited was quality, or no, Garage Inc. What do they call that?
Which one? The whole thing.
Second Garage. They had a new.
Well,
Garage.
the whole thing was called Garage Inc. when they
Garage
reissued
Inc.
it.
I call it Revisited, but that's only because I was listening to the second CD, which has the original Garage Days on it.
Yeah.
So it was Revisited for me.
Right on.
And I'll still listen to that. Bread Fan, come on.
That's a great song.
One of the best
awesome.
songs they've ever done,
Yeah.
Bread Fan.
Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite cover they've ever done, you think?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you got the
There's
stuff
too many
off
to pick
Garage
from.
Days, but I really enjoyed Stone Cold Crazy from the Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Yeah, I got to deal with Killing Time, like I said before. What a great song. And they executed it perfectly.
I got a little story about Killing Time. Now, that was the B-side of something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Killing Time was the B-side of some song. So anyway, I went to, I think, Best Buy. This is years and years ago, whenever it came out. And back when they had singles, you could go to the store and you could buy a single of a song. You could buy the song and it usually had a B-side. We're dating ourselves here. But anyway, guess what I did? I stole the crap out of that.
You thief.
I stole it from Best Buy.
Well, I think you're probably good now. It's been a while.
I'm good. I was good then. I got away with it.
Nice. Well, was it worth it?
Yeah, because Killing Time was good. It was like, Killing Time, blah, 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 Killing Time.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a good song.
My favorite cover is the Four Horsemen.
What?
Just saying.
Four Horsemen?
Isn't that a cover of Mechanics, or am I mixing up songs?
Oh, you bastard. You bastard.
Stay tuned for the Megadeth episode.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, well, what'd you think of their Motorhead covers that were on there? They had 4 or 5 Motorhead songs they did.
4 or 5? On what, on Garage Inc.?
Yeah.
Name them, I can't even remember off the top of my head.
They did Motorhead 1,
they did
Motorhead 2.
They did Overkill.
Oh, that's right.
Stone Dead Forever, Too Late, and
they wouldn't do
Stone Dead Forever.
Yeah, they wouldn't do Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
I liked them all.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like that album. But I don't know.
If I were into different bands, which I am, and if that album was performed by a different band, I would have loved it. Because it's good stuff.
So
Here's
pretty
the
much
thing about Metallica is if they're going to lay down the track, it's going to be quality. You just may or may not be into it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, when you're at that level, you can do what you want, right?
Well, I think we're getting to that point where we're going to start talking about Saint Anger.
Almost, but we do have one thing to get to.
What do we have to get to?
A little thing called No Leaf Clover.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No Leaf Clover with the...
Was that before or
San
after
Francisco Orchestra? It was one of the orchestras.
I think it was after. Wasn't the...
No, I don't know.
That was
I can't
from the
remember.
S&M album?
Yeah.
With the orchestra? Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think of No Leaf Clover?
No Leaf Clover, I enjoyed the hell out of.
Really?
Yeah, when it came out, I thought it had a great tone to it. I knew they were doing the orchestra thing, so I expected that. And so I'm like, okay, that's the orchestra in the background. Sounds great for this.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, with that song, the way it starts off, when James Sturts, that's a new word, kids. Look it up in Urban Dictionary. When James first starts singing, it's one of those types of songs where you feel he's been singing. And the song just starts off right in the middle of a sentence. And only a few songs do that. And I enjoy the hell out of it every time.
Right on.
I feel like I missed a verse.
I get that. I can hear that.
And it was heavy.
Yeah.
It had a nice little hook to it. I love orchestral music and classical music, but I didn't care for the convergence of an entire album.
Yeah.
Hearing songs that I love played with the orchestra. And Metallica had the same problem when they were working with the orchestra. It's like, man, the songs sound different now.
Yeah.
Parts of the songs are coming out that we didn't expect to come out.
Yeah.
And I was listening to S&M, which is sexual, by the way. I was like, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I'd rather just go and listen to the original song.
Yeah, I thought in their heavy, fast songs, it kind of got lost. And it kind of got the different stuff. Like I thought "Hero of the Day" sounded good.
Yeah, cool. Because that's one of their slow songs.
Yeah, and I think I liked the other new song, "Minus Human," was pretty good. It was really heavy. That was one I'd like to hear without orchestra. I don't even know if they've ever played that outside of S&M. I have no idea.
I mean, I love a No Leaf Clover.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Just a straight up version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome to hear.
I enjoyed it with the orchestra, but I would really enjoy a full on studio version of it.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
But that doesn't say much. Because the rest of the album, I was like, I don't care that much. I'll listen to it. But really, with all the stuff that they're bringing back up, I was like, I'll just go listen to the original.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed the orchestra by itself or them by themselves. But not the convergence.
Right.
Yeah, I liked it, but it was the same thing. I listened to it a couple times and I never go back to it. But I like No Leaf Clover a lot.
Yeah, I would never press play.
Right.
But if it came on the radio, I'd be like, hell yeah, all right.
So, would you push play on Saint Anger, like he mentioned?
No, I would not. Not unless I had to.
Well, what did you think the first time you saw the Saint? Because wasn't that the way it was introduced when they released the Saint Anger video on MTV?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how the song debuted, I think.
Well, as usual with Metallica,
at the prison,
the first thing that's represented, I'll be like, oh, okay, they're doing a little thing with that song.
Yeah, something a little different.
They're trying something new, cool. And then I always expect the full album to be a Metallica album. And this was just noise. It was noise. I don't even know what genre to place it in. I don't know what drum kit Lars was using. It sounded like trash cans the whole time.
Right.
Now, I do remember with Saint Anger, which, by the way, if you couldn't tell, I despise the album, but you probably do too. But if you bought the album, it came with a special disc.
Yes, I remember
of them performing the album live.
The whole album.
The whole album.
In their rehearsal space.
Yeah, it's just a fly-on-the-wall camera, and they're just looking. It's much like the Garden of Eden song that Guns N' Roses did.
Yeah.
You might have heard of them. They're an upcoming band. Anyway, it's just a fly-on-the-wall camera and them just playing all the songs.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I popped that and I listened to the album, to Saint Anger, Almost threw up because it was so crappy. And then I went and popped in that second disc with them performing it. Loved it.
See, that's insane that you say that. That's crazy because that's what I know. I remember watching it with Josh and Isaac, and I think they shared the same viewpoint. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been so long, but that's what I thought. I enjoyed watching that DVD, and I think it sounded better on that than the record.
The drums actually sound like drums.
Yeah. It's that record is just so all over the place, and it's so just manic. I mean, there might be some riffs in there somewhere, but it's just
it'd be hard pressed to find them.
I'm not gonna, and I love Metallica, but I'm not gonna. That's not gonna be the first Metallica CD I throw in.
No,
probably not the second, third, fourth, fifth.
You could even say this. You couldn't even pop it in and tell a layman this is what Metallica sounds like.
But I will say, because I'm such a fanboy, I loved how it just pissed everybody off. And if that's what they were going for, they sure succeeded in that.
Yeah, if that's what they're going for, they did succeed.
It pissed everyone off, and I think once you've seen the little documentary, the Some Kind of Monster, you get a little bit more of a sense of why they maybe made that album so manic.
Well, it's explained.
It's explained, and I understand it a bit more, and I'm a little bit more cooler with it, but it still doesn't mean I got to listen to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you watch Some Kind of Monster, which chronicles the making of this album, which had a huge interlude in the making of the album because of drama, and they didn't even know if the album had been made. I'll start off by saying the album sucks. I hate it. But if you watch Some Kind of Monster, you'll realize why the album sucks.
Yeah.
But it does not change the fact that the album sucks. But at least you understand it and you won't be as hurt. I absolutely hated it, and I didn't find it amusing that everyone hated it because I was one of the people that hated it.
Right.
But listening to the second CD, which was a DVD that showed them actually playing the songs, I thought they sounded pretty decent.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me listen to it more than once.
Yeah.
So
I like the dudes that put up the hashtag Saint Anger 15 stuff.
Oh, right.
On
those
YouTube.
new guys that re-recorded it?
Recorded the stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It was pretty good. I still didn't really listen to it a lot, but it was pretty good.
I listened to about 5 tracks, and every track was a track I recognized, and every track sounded great.
Well, and you know what they also did is they shortened each one down to like what it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, they edited the songs to get rid of any, unnecessary stuff.
Yeah.
And so the songs were nice and tight. They sounded great. The instruments sounded great. They had a kid that sounded like James Hetfield.
Yeah.
Close enough. And they had a drummer that his drums sounded like drums.
Yeah.
When he recorded them. And it's amazing. You go on YouTube, check them out. I don't remember their name. You just said their name.
No, I don't know if their name, but the hashtag was always Saint Anger 15.
Saint Anger 15.
Or Saint Anger 15.
Put a little hashtaggy in the front, and you might find it. And you might enjoy Saint Anger. I did when I listened to their recordings of it.
Well, I want to point out when you mentioned Some Kind of Monster, sorry, I always say that.
Some kind of
monster. Sorry, I'm from Oklahoma. Anyway.
It's the past tense of monster.
Right.
It's a monster.
That after, I was always, like a lot of people, a big fan of James Hetfield and, thought Lars was a jackass. But after watching Some Kind of Monster,
I realized they're both jackasses.
No, I walked away from it liking Lars better than anyone in the band.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Well, I like Kurt because he's been dealing with it for the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give
him
credit.
He's like Derek Smalls. He's like lukewarm water.
Well, he's there to go. When they're all arguing, he's there to go, come on, guys. We got better things to do. And that's his position in the band.
Yeah.
Besides, shred on some solos when they let him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
being the peacekeeper.
Yeah, he's the peacekeeper kind of. But I thought Lars was a weirdo asshole, and James was a weirdo asshole. But at the same time, I saw that they're, now that I'm older, I'm more of a human than I was, and so I understood that they're people, going through some shit, and also that they're children because they've been metal stars since they were tiny. Hey, we got a little dog on the podcast named Stevie, and he wants to have his say about Metallica. That's right, but he don't know shit about Metallica.
He might want to go outside though.
Yeah, he might want to.
Well, we're talking about Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of when we got to see Robert come into the band. You know, he was in, he didn't play on the album, but he was in the video.
Now, I can't remember, did Jason start off in the documentary at first?
No, I think he was gone. Well, they might have showed footage.
I think so, yeah. Like, I think he was when he was talking about squillions and squillions of dollars.
Yeah. And and one of his famous lines is, yeah, we do sell out every seat in the house.
Well, that was a year and a half in the life of Metallica.
Yeah, but I've seen him say that probably 4 times in different interviews.
And but Bob Rock played bass on Saint Anger.
Yeah, Jason left. They were without a bass player, and Bob Rock, their producer from the last from all the albums since the Black Album, thought he was basically part of. He was in the in crowd.
Yeah,
that he was part of the band. He can play bass, and he's a member of Metallica. But really, the rest of Metallica didn't feel that way at all. They thought of him as more as the business side. He's the producer.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tell him our dirty little secrets and have little chats. But Bob didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? Rob was a great choice.
Oh, definitely.
Oh God, you can't get better. I mean,
yeah. I mean that. Yeah.
Unless you want to resurrect Cliff Burton.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't know why you'd want to do. Because he's only awesome.
That guy he was perfect. He made total sense in that band, and he's awesome in that role. And if you look at that movie and see the other guys they auditioned, none of them can even come close to Trujillo. Mm-hmm. They can't even come in the same area code as Trujillo.
Well, also Burton, their original. Well, he's not the original bass player, but basically he's the original bass player. He's on Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets. He, besides being a crazy ass bass player, he played with his fingers. He didn't use a pick.
Exactly.
Robert is the same exact way.
Yep.
I mean, he fingers that bass.
There you
Makes
go.
it scream. And Metallica's better off for it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Like Cliff Burton was his playing I think was way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
and it just makes you wonder like what a guy like that would have been doing today. With his.
Well,
playing.
he probably would have been in Metallica.
Well, yeah, but I'm just telling you with his playing. I mean, because his it was so unique. It wasn't like anything you've ever heard. It was just it was insane.
But yeah, Robert, who's not only from Suicidal Tendencies, and was he in
Infectious Grooves?
Infectious Grooves. He played with Jerry Cantrell. He played with Ozzy for years.
Ozzy, which I saw him with Ozzy at Ozfest.
Oh, yeah.
I think the second Ozfest.
Yeah.
Of course, he's great. So he's a great fit.
He played in Black Label Society for a little bit.
Yeah.
Forgot about that, yeah.
Yep.
But, also he's just a hired hand, really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he ended up getting along with James. I know he gets along with James. I don't know if anybody gets along with Lars.
Yeah.
But he might. I mean, Lars is his own thing. We can have an entire podcast discussion about Lars Ulrich.
Maybe down the line.
Yeah, our Danish little friend who we used to bury mushrooms in the ground with.
Well, getting into the next album is Death Magnetic. I mean, I don't know how much of an influence Rob and his style might have had on pushing him back that way.
Yeah, I have some opinions.
Rick Rubin, they claim that that's the guy that really pushed him to say, no, you need to get back to being Metallica. What do you think?
Which, that was great, and I think in a lot of ways they did get back to being Metallica, and there's some good songs, and there's some good riffs. I think Broken Beat and Scar is good. All Nightmare Long is crazy awesome. but it doesn't sound epic like, their other albums. It almost sounds a little bit too, like, I don't know, it has like a staticky thing going on.
Now, didn't they get rid of Bob Rock for this album?
Yes, they got Rick Rubin to produce.
That's right. Okay, so, let me, real quick about Death Magnetic. I mean, I've talked about, Load and Reload and S&M and Garage Days Revisited. Not a big fan of any of them. Let me tell you something. Death Magnetic rocked my ass off.
Really? Well, good.
But I don't know if it's because I'm comparing it to what I've been given for the last decade before it came out. But I do know that I love the album. It was back to being Metallica, but you're right. It doesn't have that epic sound to it. Not that Metallica is supposed to have an epic sound.
Yeah.
They just had epic sound in the Black Album, which Bob Rock produced, and that album is incredibly has this epic sound to it. Just everything is so big.
Yeah.
We did lose out on that, but were we supposed to even have that? Because I wouldn't say that Master of Puppets has a big epic sound, or Justice for All has a big epic sound.
Well, I've just noticed from Load on, whether you like it or not, whatever style, if it's the Load style or the Death Magnetic style, all their recordings seem to be a little bit, they go for a raw thing. They don't like to get too slick anymore. Yeah. And maybe that's where I'm missing it. Yeah. That could be it.
It could be the absence of Bob Rock, which I only care about Bob Rock and his sound when it comes to the Black Album. Everything after that, I don't care about.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we didn't have it with Death Magnetic, I didn't mind it so much because the songs were speaking for themselves. They were saying, hey, we're Metallica. I heard songs on there that could have fit in some of the classic albums.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely some of that going on.
I heard stuff that could have fit on Kill 'Em All. Yeah. James was singing Fast Again, which he hadn't done in a very long time. One of the songs actually was faster than any song he's ever sung before.
My Apocalypse, that might have been it, because that was a face melter.
Yeah. So for me, and I know that there are people out there that talk about the sound quality of that album. I don't hear it. Yeah. It just could be because Saint Anger sounded so horrible.
Yeah.
That I'm like, hey, I hear Metallica in this album for the first time in a long time. I can actually hear Metallica playing Metallica songs, and those songs are brand new songs that I haven't heard before. So maybe I'm just not even paying attention to the quality of the sound. I'm just paying attention to what's involved in the sound.
It's like this. It's like if you sat me next to Louis Anderson, I'd look like Ryan Gosling. So when you put...
Because Ryan Gosling is, I guess, incredibly hot.
You put, well, he is to me. Anyways. But
you want to touch him a little bit?
You put Saint Anger next to Death Magnetic. Death Magnetic is going to sound like, fucking Led Zeppelin 4.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, to me, Death Magnetic was easily the best thing since the Black Album.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This
is
the first Metallica
down.
album since the Black Album. Like when you hear that, you're like, "That's Metallica."
Yeah.
It's like I don't. The previous 4 albums.
Yeah.
It's just It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Some aliens are making that stuff, and then somehow between Saint Anger and Death Magnetic, Metallica's like, no, we will fight and get our bodies back. And they fought, and they got their bodies and their minds back, and they made Death Magnetic. And as a juggalo, I don't know how magnets work, but I know that album worked.
Right.
And I listened to it for the first time since 1991 when a new Metallica album came out. I listened to the album over and over and over and over again, and for good measure, I listened to it one more time.
There you go. All right.
And I loved it, and I'm incredibly looking forward to what's coming next. But at the same time, I'm like, not sure it's going to happen.
Well, what do you think of Lords of Summer?
Oh, that sucked balls.
Really? Well,
I did not care for it. First off, the name of the song, Lords of Summer, I just think of Boys of Summer from Don Henley.
Like I told you, I think of like some dudes on skateboards in 1991.
Yeah, it's like Dogtown.
Yeah.
It's Dogtown.
Just based off the title, not the
Dogtown and the Z-Boys.
And also, I hate summer. Summer sucks.
Summer is amazing, okay?
No, summer sucks.
Well, I don't know. It's too early to tell on that. That song might not even be on a new album.
But that could just be, just like everything they ever come out with, the first thing I hear, I forgive them.
Yeah.
Or I accept them. I hear something like, that's pretty good.
Yep.
But the rest of it's going to be better. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think you're going to get like an extension of Death Magnetic, or you think it's going to be something totally different?
I think it'll be along the lines of, I think it'll be Death Magnetic-y.
Because they want everybody, not everybody, but they want a lot of people back, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even tell. It takes so long for a new Metallica album to come out that, I mean, they can do amazingly. In this day and age, they can do amazingly. Amazingly. I'm sure that's the way I'm saying it. But Death Magnetic brought me back from the fringe. I mean, I was ready to say, no matter what they come out with, I'm not even a fan anymore.
Yeah.
Don't even like the originals anymore.
What do you think of the Beyond Magnetic EP?
I think I listened to it once.
Really?
And then
I thought a couple of those could have been in Death Magnetic. I thought a couple of those
were. They
should
probably
have
were
been
at first. Because I know they had like 21 songs.
Like,
and they cut it in half.
Had some
which
hooks in there, you know.
Didn't you say at one point you liked that better than the album?
Yeah, well, probably. But that was my point. Is I think a lot of that could have been in there. I think they could have took out like Cyanide or something. I don't know.
No, they couldn't. No.
He sold.
That Cyanide worked.
Or Unforgiven 3, they could have taken that out. What do you think of Unforgiven 3?
It's his third favorite.
Here's
there you go.
It's my second
favorite. Yeah,
Unforgiven song.
Yeah.
What, you like it better than Unforgiven 2?
Unforgiven 2 sucked balls.
Yeah. I hear you, but still.
Unforgiven 2 is the thing that should not be. That song sucks so bad.
No pun intended, huh?
No pun intended. No correlation. That song sucks so bad. Unforgiven 1, amazing song. Let's go back to 1991. Unforgiven. That song came out. The video came out. Had a little boy turn into an old man. And no matter what happened, life sucked.
Right.
It spoke to me. The song sounded amazing. Unforgiven 2 came out. I didn't even know why they even called it that. I don't even see how it even fit with Unforgiven 1.
Because he was Unforgiven 2.
As well. He's Unforgiven as well, is what they should have called it.
It had that same guitar part kind of running through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's a lot of songs that do that.
Hell,
But Unforgiven 3...
Three-fourths of all Megadeth songs do that.
I'm looking forward to Unforgiven 4.
Yeah, you think that'll happen on the new album?
I hope not. They just need to move on that deal.
As a big fan that follows all their set lists, have you been sad that they've never played all 3 Unforgivens in a row?
No.
Oh, okay. Why did they?
No,
why
haven't they done this?
They have played. I would imagine one day it'll happen.
Right.
It can't not. And they've recently started playing Unforgiven 2, and I think it was the first time they ever did. I think.
Yeah, they can cut that out. They should do part 3 though. Part 3 was.
They've done that before, and that's another thing we can go on to is, you know, their live sets are amazing because they are always changing it up.
Right.
And they're always trying to bring songs out that they haven't played in years or never before.
Yeah. Which most bands at that level
don't do. They
that.
stick to a certain set. And I think all bands should do that. You know, they should just mix it up and play what they want to play and, you know, not play all the hits or whatever.
The tickets are already sold. Play what you want to play.
Yeah, exactly. And I was... And I thought it was bullshit last year when they did the whole, you know, European summer tour. You pick the set list, and all these fuckers pick the same fucking songs that they always play.
Oh yeah,
and it made me want. It's like, is this fucking thing fixed? I don't know.
Well, if you give power to the majority of people, The majority of people are idiots, and half of them are even more idiotic than you can imagine.
Right. But the problem is, it was Europeans, so I
Yeah.
thought, okay, these people know their metal.
I know.
True,
I
true.
expected that from
Sad but
America.
true.
But
It's very sad but true.
But
If we were in North America, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, that would have been. They would have been requesting Nickelback songs.
Exactly, but Europe, I thought, okay, they're gonna throw them some curveballs.
Yeah.
Not one fucking curveball, the whole thing.
Oh wow.
And so that's why I wondered if something was up, but I don't know.
No low man's lyric, huh? For you.
Those motherfuckers.
Now you know what we didn't talk about is Metallica came out with another project. I'm not talking about Lulu. I'm talking about Guitar Hero Metallica.
Oh God.
Which I know you've played. I've
Yes.
played it. You've played it. You probably did not play it.
I did not.
And there's videos on there of Lars. You know, he has to do the mocap for all the songs.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why they just have some dude do it. Because now you're dealing with Lars Ulrich. You don't want to bring that tornado into your production. But he's trying to play the songs. He can't even play the songs. I'm not talking about trying to play the video game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about trying to recreate the motions of playing Dyer's Eve.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even do it.
Probably not. I don't know. I saw him when I saw him a few years ago in Dallas. They played Dyer's Eve, but
I think it's one of the best songs.
that was a unique night for me. I'd had a little bit too much to drink, and I don't really remember a lot on that show, so I don't know. But you know, I know that they've stuck it in their set lately. I don't know. It sounds like he's doing the double bass. So
I don't know. That song's really hard. He's probably got to have cheated a little bit.
a trigger or something maybe.
Because that's one of the toughest damn songs. It's so fast. Dear mother, dear father, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd love to hear it. I just don't know when I'll ever get a chance to see Metallica again, unless it's in a crowd of 500,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, well, as much as you hate arena shows, I mean...
Yeah, I hate arena shows. I love going to clubs because it's almost like you're in the same room with the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really waiting for Metallica to come to the State Fair.
Well, it'll never happen. They're going to be playing the Enormo Dome.
Well, we could make a pact now whenever next time they do those anniversary shows in San Francisco.
Yeah.
We should go to one of them because they play the club.
Man,
Like 5 nights in a row.
If I could see them in a
Yeah.
club and not on a jumbotron.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd
Now
be
instead
great.
of going to a Metallica show, I just go on YouTube.
Right.
Yep, you can do
It's
that.
the same experience, but a lot cheaper.
Yep,
And it's high def.
Yeah.
that's right.
HDs.
All right, we're good, I think, on this.
Well, what are
Yeah.
we thinking about Metallica nowadays? Because they're still doing stuff that's not album related.
I think,
Let's get your closing thoughts.
closing
Jason,
thoughts.
closing thoughts on Metallica.
Real quick,
Uh,
what do you think of Newstead's album? Badass? Go.
Newstead's album was great. He
It
came
was better
and
than
he
Death
went.
Magnetic. Go.
He came and went. He's
Power
gone
trio.
again.
Yeah.
But Newstead, that was great. Or yeah, that's what they just called it, Newstead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had killer riffs. I love his voice. He's got a good metal voice, and I wished he would have kept going, but he kind of disappeared all over again.
Well, here's the qualifier. Do you want to touch him a little bit?
Maybe by this time you've worn me down. I might want to touch one of them.
All right. That's very good. My summation of Metallica is you got money, they'll take it, and they'll put on a good show for it. So go ahead and check them out. If they're not your thing, then you probably shouldn't even be listening to this podcast.
You probably turned it off by now.
Yeah, turn it off. never clicked on play.
The minute they heard, so what do you think of Load? They turned it off.
Yeah, and just remember, Lars Ulrich is a hella good drummer. If you don't know that, then you're hella dumb.
And Lars was right about Napster. I'll just say it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
on his side.
Napster
Sorry.
what? What is Napster?
Yep.
All right, well, I guess that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being here, Justin.
Thanks, JP.
Hey, no problem. Ooh, yeah, yeah.